And we are back. Hope you enjoyed those duct tapes, them Española duct tapes, those clips. Mwah. Muy humorous. As we come back in to our final series of the evening, and just looking at the players we've got, how they perform throughout the year, and how they've been performing recently, Ligulike ratings and whatnot. I think this is going to be our closest series of the evening.
100%.
At least I hope so.
100%. I mean, sure, we didn't have a 3-0 with Beyond versus Ratata, but I mean, it may as well have been. But here we go with some of the strongest players from their respective regions. We're diving into our final best of 5 of the night, and we are also opening up some predictions.
Indeed, we are. Place your wagers, everyone, as to, I actually don't know if you committed to the meme of whether or not the series will last more than 20 minutes, but alright, let's go. Here we are. We are gonna kick it off on Curious Minds LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have our red Protoss player coming down from the land of Denmark, representing Sidestorm Gaming PSG. He is MaxPax.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Curious Minds LE, we have the Canadian Protoss player. He is blue, representing himself. Currently teamless. No, never mind, sorry. Recently let go from Alpha X, but also recently joining Root Gaming. It is TriGGeR.
Now, real quick, when you say 20 minutes, that's just in-game time, right?
Yes.
No downtime. Okay. Okay.
Oh god. So yes, place your bets, people. Is this series gonna last more than 20 minutes? I think so. I think there's a good chance.
As do I, definitely.
Oh, god.
Again, if we're looking at rankings on the Ligulike and whatnot, MaxPax is still the favorite here, but the gap between TriGGeR and MaxPax is definitely closer than the gap between MaxPax and Art, for example.
Oh yeah, or MaxPax and Geomex. So again, this is going to be a much closer series, or at least it should be, depending on how they approach this. Again, I'm a little bit concerned because TriGGeR, of course, was unavailable until recently, which means I can't imagine he had time to warm up.
Yeah, that's always unfortunate, isn't it? But I guess there are just some things you can't really account for, like 3 3-0s in a row, shortening the length of the tournament and the bracket significantly.
Pretty much, mate, pretty much. And I love it. This is what I wanted out of Art versus MaxPax, and we were robbed, we were denied. We have a Stargate opener versus a Stargate opener.
Show me the Phoenixes. Come on, Phoenixes.
Let's go. So what's important is that they have scattered each other. They are well aware of their own techs. So it's going to be, again, a bold move if someone does decide to go for an Oracle first. We should be seeing some Phoenixes.
Yeah, well, Phoenixes are just have better utility overall in the PvP, don't they? Well, at least when you're going Stargate versus Stargate. And no, we actually see a Void Ray coming up from TriGGeR.
Interesting. I'm being brought back because TriGGeR and Starduck, they are really good friends. TriGGeR, Starduck, and Nina, the three of them, and they do practice a lot. And they have been playing a little bit with Void Rays in PvP. Interesting. We'll see if he only makes one Void Ray for safety or if he commits to even more.
Just literally just staring at that Stargate at the moment. And yeah, he is just going for the safety Void Ray and opts instead to go for much more of a ground toss and gateway focus composition for at least the opening.
Yeah, and he's working on a second Void Ray. So what they've been playing around with recently is to go for a oh my god, as the first one, oh god, it almost went down, but the shoe battery just barely keeps it alive.
Not a second too soon.
Oh god, exactly, but you know what? The shield battery is running out of energy, mate. It's running out! It's running out! The Phoenix is going to die on top of the Void Ray!
They do not care one bit. It surprisingly takes a long time for Void Rays to kill Phoenixes, as they do have quite a bit of health on them, and they don't do any, or they don't receive any bonus damage from the Void Rays.
Oh my god. Yeah, they just barely survived. Overcharge was forced as well, and now there's a second Void Ray, so now we have a bit of a stronger anti-air force from TriGGeR. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for these Phoenixes to really dive on them. They do pick off one of those probes, but only one.
Well, MaxPax is just doing what he does best, I suppose, or at least what Phoenixes do best, and utilizing all of that maneuverability. He's juking in and out. Finally, we'll lose one, but he has distracted this army for so long, I think, and gotten a couple of probes earlier that may have been worth it.
Yeah,
he's doing a really good job of containing TriGGeR on 2 bases.
I mean, TriGGeR only lost one probe, and I just love the way that TriGGeR was able to defend there. He kept one of his Void Rays in his main base purposefully, so again, those Phoenixes couldn't get any more worker kills. There's a shield battery as well to help defend, and there we go. Now TriGGeR, he was fully walled up on 2 bases, and now he's getting ready to expand.
Like so. Does this army look exposed to you?
Yes, very exposed. Especially because we still have a lot of Phoenixes.
Yeah, this is definitely something TriGGeR needs to do to secure that 3rd base, but any missteps like that will be taken full advantage of.
Ooh, what? Oh my god, the NA ping coming into play. MaxPax does not get that Stalker. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, getting 7 probes will ease his pain at least a little bit. TriGGeR doesn't turn around at all. He's had enough. He wants to deal some counter damage to at least keep MaxPax behind.
Yeah, what's important is that TriGGeR, he checks the 3rd base, confirms that there's nothing there. So TriGGeR does have the base advantage. So even though he just lost 7 probes, he's still like got a pretty good worker count compared to MaxPax.
Yeah, and he shouldn't be feeling too pressured to push into that main base either. Again, knowing that he has the base lead, he'll eventually get the economy lead, and he can just turn the tables from here. Just try to keep MaxPax contained on 2 bases.
Yeah, I was saying those 7 probes, it was manageable that TriGGeR had lost them, but now we have even more probes are falling. 2 more get picked off. Now the worker count is equalized, but okay, a couple of Phoenixes are getting picked off, and again, TriGGeR still has that base lead. MaxPax, his own 3rd, is still on the way.
Exactly. And TriGGeR's cornering out as many probes as he can while he has the opportunity to do so. MaxPax is teching up quicker, but we'll see when and if he hits, whether or not that's going to be in time before TriGGeR is able to get his own defenses up.
Yeah, it's... Oh my god, we'll see. I mean, also I wanted to clarify, sorry. Actually, the bets that were made, the prediction that was made was whether or not this is going to be a 3-0, not a 20-minute series.
Oh! Oh!
So, Yoda Slim was screwed a little bit there. But you gotta read what the prediction is, god damn. I wasn't listening and I just agreed to what you were saying. You're like, yo, so is it the 20-minute thing? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not?
Well, I tell you what, if it does end up being a 3-0, Yoda Slim is going to make a lot of channel points,
True.
a lot of grapes here.
Exactly.
As apparently he's the only one who voted for yes. And he didn't even intend to vote for yes.
Let's go.
And he's cheering for TriGGeR here.
He is, mate. He is. Meanwhile, what I was going to say is that, mate, the production's about to finish off for MaxPax. These Archons are going to play a huge role. This is kind of the tech that he rushed to. So that's going to be the big advantage that he has over TriGGeR. TriGGeR has only got a single Archon so far to work with. We'll see if he can break through. Oh, he's going to get more.
Yeah, reinforcements definitely going to help a ton. He is getting to get more. These Archons will really do a good job of zoning out the Phoenixes.
That they will. Meanwhile, MaxPax is pushing in again, fighting without any shield batteries to support his army, and it looks like the Archons of MaxPax are falling. Only one left.
Yeah, they're starting to get overwhelmed, but the army of TriGGeR now meets all of these Immortals. 3 of them against a mostly Stalker army.
Oh god, exactly. Meanwhile, the boys are pulled, and with the help of Overcharge, the probes are actually going to kill these harassing zealots. Oh my god.
I knew they had him in them. Probes more than zealots confirmed.
Confirmed. Probes are just the greater units, and now TriGGeR, he can focus on reinforcing his army. Where are the shield batteries, by the way? I'm surprised that MaxPax hasn't thrown any down at his third.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't expecting the tables to be turned on him as TriGGeR snipes that Warp Prism with an Immortal right out of the sky, and he is starting to overwhelm. Look at that army supply plummet for MaxPax and stay steady for TriGGeR.
Yeah, exactly. TriGGeR with that superior economy, he got up to 60 workers so much faster compared to his opponent. Now he pushes that across the map. GG gets called. TriGGeR takes game number 1.
He takes game number 1. And he makes MaxPax drop his first map of the evening. Already.
I know, right? It's the first one. He's doing it. Is it going to be 3A?
we don't know. Yoda Slim is hoping that it will be.
It's true. It's very true.
Beyond a doubt. He bet 4K. Mate.
Oh my god. That's a lot. That's a lot of channel points, mate. Alright, well here we go, we're just, oh my god. MaxPax, a little bit flustered. We're diving straight into game number 2. We're gonna have to count a little bit here because there is no WCS game hard here.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Well, they are eager, as we all should be.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
Finally a little bit of a competition here for MaxPax.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to continue this series on Hotwire LE. We're in the top right-hand corner map, swatting all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have our red Protoss player coming out from the land of Denmark. He is going to be representing Storm Gaming, PSG. He is MaxPax.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the Canadian Protoss player representing Root Gaming. It is TriGGeR.
No chill whatsoever.
I love it. I love it.
Immediately.
It's one of those things where TriGGeR, he wasn't here earlier, so he didn't see the cheese coming out from our Polish Protosses. He didn't see how aggressive they were trying to be against MaxPax. He doesn't even care.
It's actually being even more aggressive than
oh
they
my
were,
god!
As 3 gates get thrown down immediately from this position.
Yeah, no gas is taken whatsoever. We're going mass zealot here from TriGGeR, but MaxPax probe scouts, and he will confirm that there's nothing at home.
Yeah, this should give him more than enough time to react. He sees that's a very late gas. That's a very late pylon. In fact, there's actually no pylon. There's nothing in your main. To be scanning the perimeter right now.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, I love this TriGGeR checks to confirm that there is no proxy pylon in his main base because MaxPax can always defend at home, warp in like an adept across the map, and just send it.
He sees it now.
Oh yeah, exactly. There's the proxy cybercore. Oh my god.
Well, it's his only pylon, so
yeah,
it's the only place he can build.
It's a little bit supply blocked, by the way. Uh-oh.
He is quite a bit supply blocked, yeah.
Yeah, he only just now starts the next pylon. A little bit worrisome. It does slow down the Zealot production quite a bit, to be honest, so a little bit inefficient here by TriGGeR.
Yeah, and honestly, maybe enough time for MaxPax to gather enough defenses.
Yeah, I mean, now we've got 2 Zealots on 2 Zealots. The shield batteries are on the way as well to help defend at the natural base. Again, the next wave of units was delayed by quite a bit, but with this Cybercore and with the added gas production, we can see some Stalkers.
Yeah, and they'll have a pretty decent rest stop with that shield battery. The probe did get taken out. So that will be the only shield battery available, but
yeah,
sometimes that's all you need to give yourself a slight edge in the battle.
And I love what MaxPax is doing. Across the map, he's throwing down or he's stealing a gas, which means it's going to be that much more difficult for TriGGeR to transition once he realizes that he can't break this.
That was a kill, not a cancel on that battery.
That it was, and I just don't know if TriGGeR can do this. He comes across the map with a second probe. Oh, he just barely starts another shield battery before he gets taken out.
Okay, not quite so, but Yeah, it is in a very open position. These stalkers should not have too much trouble unless they're throwing a wild goose chase. Nope, never mind.
Yeah, I mean, everything is getting shut down here. The shield battery should not finish. And again, TriGGeR, his transition just isn't going to be here. MaxPax even has a probe to check if a Nexus is taken.
I feel so bad for everybody who voted that this would be a 3-0.
You mean, for Yoda Slim, you mean?
Yeah. GG is called, and MaxPax will tie up the series sideways 1-1. So far, the series is not disappointing. Going back and forth.
GG. Well played. That was a really bold proxy from TriGGeR, not gonna lie. But MaxPax, he probe scouted, he confirmed everything that was happening, like, and again, TriGGeR getting supply block there was actually pretty huge. Like, when you're going for a proxy, when you're going for an all-in like that, like, you got to be crisp.
Exactly. You cannot let up for a second on that unit production. The minute you do, the defender's advantage alone is enough for the defending player to eke out the victories in engagements like that. I wanna see the chat react.
I want to see Yoda. Yeah, I want to see Yoda react. Let's go.
Alright, well, while the stream delay catches up, we are going to continue our best of 5 PvP now on Blackburn LE. We're in the bottom right-hand corner map, sweating all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have a red Protoss player coming down from the land of Denmark. He is, of course, going to be representing Storm Gaming, PSG. He is MaxPax.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have the Canadian Protoss player representing his brand new team, Root Gaming. It is TriGGeR.
Pretty excited to kick things off with, and that's the extent that I'll look at the game for now, as I'm gonna look back to chat right now.
They are on a 2 minute.
Still some time to.
Yeah, they are on a 2 minute delay. Yeah, feels bad, man. Feels bad. Oh god, but yeah, that was a questionable move by TriGGeR. It's possible that he saw our predictions and he's like, let's screw these guys up a little bit. Maybe intentional. But I doubt we're gonna see a game like that again this series. I hope not.
Yeah, that's the kind of build you pull out once when you have the advantage, right? Just to see if you can get away with it, and if not, then whatever. We still have other games left. I say that as TriGGeR's be making some very suspicious maneuvers with this probe.
Yeah, his own Nexus has been delayed by quite a bit. MaxPax does take note of this, so he should be aware since his own Nexus is thrown down. What's also important to note is that TriGGeR never sent a probe across the map to harass, just like MaxPax did, which is a little bit suspect. It's typically what you expect to see in this kind of matchup.
Definitely. So not only is MaxPax tipped off by the lack of the probe scout, by the lack of a natural base, but also by he'll also have quite a significant lead when it comes to the economy.
Yeah, so MaxPax, he's scouring the map right now for the proxy. We see where it is. It is going to be a proxy Stargate in the center of the map. MaxPax even checking this little alcove here, like outside his main base as well. Like, he's looking everywhere, but he can't quite find it.
Yeah, well, those are the obvious spots.
Yeah.
You know? It's actually pretty rare that we see a Protoss player proxy specifically from this location, and for pretty good reason. It's still very far away from your opponent. It's the maximum length and still a pretty big width to travel, but with SkyToss, that's a little bit less of an issue.
It really is. Meanwhile, TriGGeR will come out ahead in this little exchange. What's important is that MaxPax just barely misses the proxy as well. He's still looking, he doesn't see, and we can see that it is going to be for Phoenix production.
He's even waiting to produce more.
Yeah.
He has no intention of scouting. He just wants to roll up and start shooting probes.
I kind of love it. He's taking quite a bit of a risk here because obviously he doesn't have a lot at home. He only has a single Stalker, and his main base was a little bit exposed. Like, if MaxPax had opened up with an Oracle, I do think that he would have had a decent time across the map, but he's going anyway with what Stalkers he has. And, okay, we do have a shield battery at the natural.
Okay. With a well-timed overcharge, one Stalker and the shield battery should be able to out-damage 3 Stalkers here. Not if the shield battery gets sniped, though.
Shield battery, it looks like it will get sniped. We have a backup shield battery on the way, though, but with 3 Stalkers, it's still enough to overwhelm what he has here.
He's forced to reveal the Phoenixes. Just as the Stalkers recall, TriGGeR has to pull the trigger, funnily enough.
Yeah, he has shown his hand. Now MaxPax can start getting ready at home. There we go. Shield batteries are going to be on the way, not just in the main base, but also in the natural. We have Stalkers in defensive positions. And can TriGGeR get anything done here? He's going to try, but again, the Stalkers, they're ready and waiting.
Yeah, just at about the heart of these Nexuses there. Really isn't going to be a good angle for TriGGeR to dive in and not have his Phoenixes attacked, which is why he is going to dive through damage anyway.
Yeah, and so far he hasn't lost a single Phoenix, kind of using the SimCity against MaxPax a little bit there, and is able to pick off 2 probes. And what's important to note is that also he's not stopping Phoenix production. We see some Protoss players stop at like 5 Phoenixes and that's it, but no, he's working on a 6th and maybe even more.
I like it, he's committed.
Very committed.
Okay, it's only 6 for now, but these 6 Phoenixes will secure him to map control. That's why he feels no fear whatsoever taking that 3rd base much early in the MaxPax.
Yeah, again, he's just been containing MaxPax. MaxPax has to stay here at home, otherwise he's going to lose workers. And because that TriGGeR is free to take that 3rd base. Behind this, though, what I will say is that MaxPax hasn't taken too much economic damage, so he's done a really good job defending. It's more about, you know, when is he going to take that 3rd base? You know, when is he going to eventually expand?
And will it be a gold or not?
Yeah, you really want that gold.
Well, I think it may as well, considering how late it's going to be, right? But we may not even get to that point if these DTs have anything to say about that.
Yeah, DTs are on the way. I love it because, again, the Robo has been delayed because of TriGGeR's opening, because MaxPax is aware of the Stargate. But unfortunately for MaxPax, like, TriGGeR does have now a Robo. But he's working on his he's working on his Immortals, not so much his detection.
Yeah, and that's going to be a pretty big weak spot in TriGGeR's defenses. He will finish up the Forge pretty soon, so might decide to throw down a couple of cannons in bases that he's not going to keep his army at.
Yeah, what's important is that we have a War Prism here for MaxPax, so even though we have detection in between the 3rd and the natural, that War Prism could sneak into the main base and we could see some DTs. Meanwhile, TriGGeR's working on his own Dark Shrine.
DTs versus DTs, let's go! As MaxPax is the first player to react and snipe the Observer of TriGGeR. There is no detection available right now for our blue Protoss player.
Oh my god, is that
it's
a tell?
Not in production either.
Yeah, there's none in production. That's what's shocking to me. TriGGeR just lost his one and only Observer. Meanwhile, DTs are going into the main base and there are no cannons.
No cannons, no Observers.
He goes for the Robo!
He's targeting down that Robo. This is the stuff that nightmares are made of.
The Overcharge is trying to keep the Robo alive. He's trying to chrono out that Observer as fast as he can. Oh
no! And thankfully that Overcharge, I think, has bought enough time for TriGGeR to get defenses or Observers up, but there's nothing to defend against all these Stalkers. Yeah. One Immortal ain't gonna do much.
Those DTs were wreaking so much havoc in the main base. That's when MaxPax pulled the trigger, goes towards the 3rd, cleans up the army, doesn't get into the mineral line, but again, resetting that Immortal count was huge. DTs are still not dealt with!
The DTs still are not dealt with. We don't have WCS Game Heart, but 25 probes have gone down for the side of TriGGeR.
DTs all over the place. Eventually they'll be cleaned up, and again, we do have defensive DTs from TriGGeR, but now MaxPax, he's getting into the mineral line, and there's nothing to stop him.
It really is not. Look at that worker supply difference. I tell you what, when you're down a base, this is one hell of a way to get you back ahead economically.
Yeah, like his own third was delayed. A nice pickoff here by TriGGeR. He's able to get the Warp Prism, but again, the damage has been done. TriGGeR, he's got half the worker count at this point. He needs to deal some damage. No, the only way that he can do that is with these Phoenixes, and they almost get caught out.
Very badly bruised. They have to be that much more careful diving in with his Phoenixes behind a mineral line now.
Oh my god. Meanwhile, Phoenixes do head towards that main. Again, like, the Phoenixes are the way for TriGGeR to get back into this, but they just haven't found a way in. They need to get into a mineral line, but they just can't do it. There are just so many Stalkers.
Yeah, and they're placed well enough that each and every time they buy MaxPax enough time to get the rest of his Stalkers in position. Spotting Stalkers, you always want that.
Yeah, Stalkers, pylons all over the place. Phoenixes can't do anything against pylons. They can't lift buildings. We do have a couple of DTs that maybe could deal some damage, but again, MaxPax is ready. He's got cannons.
More probes starting to fall. Except from the side of MaxPax, but it does close the gap a little bit, the worker gap, but
yeah, it's one of those things where MaxPax doesn't even care. He does catch these Phoenixes. A little bit of a move command there. He does snipe one where he could have sniped maybe a couple more, but he blinks straight into the main base. He has detection. Defensive DTs aren't going to do anything, and he even depowers two of these gateways.
Yeah, it's a real good position to set yourself up in as well. Real good use of the choke point as well as there's also all these Stalkers on the low ground. There's really no way for these Zealots to engage.
Yeah, and only a handful of Zealots here to defend, and a single Immortal. Like, this is just not the army you want. Meanwhile, MaxPax, he is taking the gold base just for you, papi. And yeah, again, those Phoenixes, they did get a surprising amount of damage done earlier in the mineral line, but oh god, I don't know if this is gonna be enough, mate.
Well, the Zealots are starting to get decent surface area. A lot of these Stalkers are finally thinning out. But not quite enough of them.
Yeah, that's kind of the big problem here. I'm just quickly checking the structures, and of course, TriGGeR is still missing that Templar Archives, so he can't necessarily go into Archons comfortably. He's forced to warp in these DTs instead. At least he has a way to produce these Archons, which are very necessary, especially with the tech that MaxPax has. TriGGeR isn't out of this yet by any means. He has surprisingly been able to catch up when it comes to the probes.
Yeah, he really has not neglected that probe production one bit. Utilizing Chrono Boost about as efficiently as he can. He's even ahead in the upgrade somehow.
Yeah, and you know what? He's working on a much faster Robotics Bay. That's a way for him to get back into this. He needs those disruptors.
That great equalizer, as we are all fond of calling it. But will he be able to get them out in time, as MaxPax is hungry for blood?
God, exactly. He wants it. He's up 30 supply here. The disruptors aren't ready yet. They're on the way, but again, TriGGeR needs a little bit more time.
MaxPax is, I wouldn't say willing to give it to him, but he is playing this out very, very cautious. He knows he's at a upgrade disadvantage. Doesn't want to accidentally expose too many of his Stalkers, for instance. Or Zealots to the Archons and Immortals.
He really doesn't, but he does have his Archons really nicely positioned. But as you were saying, enough time has passed, the first disruptor is out.
Alright, let's see if it will connect, though.
Oh god, the army's getting distracted. We did have a massive warp in into the main base here of TriGGeR, and now the disruptor's not where it needs to be.
It's actually not anywhere right now from the looks of things, as MaxPax is finally gaining ground here on the natural base. The Immortals still hold strong. That defender's advantage, man. Those clutch warp-ins of Zealots has been saving has been saving TriGGeR by that third base each and every time, but in the main base, DTs and Zealots are destroying all the infrastructure.
Yeah, the Dark Shrine goes down, so do even more workers. We do see MaxPax trying to force the issue here outside the natural base, but with these disruptors, he's having a hard time closing the deal. But like, look at that worker count disparity. We were praising TriGGeR for catching back up, for getting back up to 60, but now we see that count kind of the gap widen.
I don't even want to think about how many probes TriGGeR has made throughout this game.
He's lost 39 probes this game. 39! It's crazy.
Ouch.
Remind the players about WCS game hard for next game.
Yeah. Well, I guess you kind of need to be producing as many workers as possible when they go down left and right to DTs.
Speaking of DTs, MaxPax, he's doubling down. He is working on Blink for them. Up! Ugh.
That was a pretty good connection here for TriGGeR.
Honestly, he just needs a couple more of those. Meanwhile, at the same time, oh god, DTs are coming in, and one cannon's not going to be enough.
Yeah, look at that. They overpowered a cannon.
There's no detection. Uh-oh. Oh no! What was the recall for? He missed the observer.
Oh no! That's one of the most painful misclicks you can ever make in a game of StarCraft.
Ay. Well, the base almost falls. Oh my god, the Novas are connecting though.
They're connecting really well.
But the DTs are still just going ham.
They're going very ham. That detection pops out at the very least. No, but where's the rally to?
Rallied into the main base. DT just keep dealing damage. Meanwhile, the Blinkstalkers keep coming on in, and they will be able to focus down some of these disruptors.
Yeah, finally we see some very good snipes coming out from MaxPax, who now has disruptors of his own.
Yeah, and even though we have detection here for TriGGeR, like the DTs are they have just so much DPS anyway, they don't even care. It looks like TriGGeR, he's finally just pushing out. He's had enough. He realizes that everything is on fire. I have to do something. I have to make use of my disruptors. But at this stage of the game, now MaxPax has his own disruptors.
Not only that, but I don't believe TriGGeR has his Warp Prism. I don't know, another player has a Warp Prism. Micro Potential is kind of out of the picture. As TriGGeR loses another disruptor.
Well, he loses one of his only disruptors. He has one left, and if you recall, the Robo was sniped earlier, and it hasn't been remade. So that's...
Yeah, it has.
Oh, it has. Oh, never mind.
Not the Robo facility, the Robo Bay.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, he can't produce any of the disruptors anymore. He's got one, and that's it.
He's got to make it count. It's kind of difficult to do against all of these blinks. Against all these Blink DTs, these Blink Stalkers, these Chargelets, and oh yeah, 3 times as many disruptors.
God, exactly. That was the only Nova that TriGGeR had available to him, and we have 2 more where that came from for MaxPax. We see the Blink on forward, and TriGGeR will trade pretty well here, taking out 2 of the disruptors. But again, he's still being pulled apart.
Left and right. MaxPax maintaining that 30 worker lead for so long throughout this game. 1 Purification Nova, all he had left, and it wasn't able to connect.
It wasn't, and that was the last disruptor for TriGGeR for our NA Protoss. There we go. He's finally realized, hold on, why can't I make any more of them? Robo's on the way. It's so late though. He was getting his 5th base before even getting that Robo back up and running. And even though TriGGeR's done a really great job at holding on for now, like, this is disgusting.
Absolutely. I want to point out that this one game has lasted longer than some of our series so far. This is what we were waiting for when we got to our final PvP.
This is what we wanted. We wanted more of a back and forth. And again, TriGGeR has been really impressive with how he's been able to hold on. Honestly, if he had remade this Robo like 2 minutes ago, I think he'd be in a pretty good position, to be honest. But like, without any disruptors, without the potential for those Novas, like, it's just what are you meant to do? You know?
Yeah. He doesn't have any AoE, so yeah, it really is a game of numbers. There are some choke points. There's some kiting you can utilize, but At the end of the day, MaxPax can very much outproduce anything that TriGGeR can.
Yeah, it's a combination of things as well. The fact that MaxPax also has been making a lot of these DTs and hasn't really been able to make use of them, and they're pretty expensive, all things considered. So like because of the way he's been spending his resources, it hasn't been the most efficient. He's also been taking a lot of disruptor shots to the face,
yes.
with what little there has been.
Yeah, well, or in USC, so don't want to give him too much of a hard time for that. As this gold base, the one Hail Mary play, I think, for TriGGeR will be denied. That's a lot of Archons, so
yeah,
it's making very short work of the Zealots and the DTs.
Exactly, Archons are going to be able to chase all of this down, but as you were saying, the gold base is being denied. The mining is being denied by MaxPax, so TriGGeR can't really get it up and running. Again, though, he's done a really good job at just holding on. Like, it's one of those things where he's not winning by any means, but he's holding on.
He's giving himself, yeah, he's holding on, and the longer the game goes on, the more chances he will be able to find. That was just about the perfect purification Nova. TriGGeR could have gotten every single disruptor of MaxPax has been taken out.
MaxPax
is... look at the army supply difference in the blink of an eye.
TriGGeR
shoots right up.
There's only one Nova left. Where's the blink? Oh, blink was a little bit off cooldown. At the same time, DTs finally pull the trigger. Finally, they head towards one of these bases. Almost take it out. We do see a recall, but I don't think there's any detection here, mate.
I don't think so either, and I think that recall might have been what secured it for MaxPax here.
Exactly. Finally, TriGGeR does get an observer up towards the top left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, we see a blink on forward. Even though MaxPax, again, has taken such inefficient fights, he just has so much to work with anyway.
Absolutely. He took that gold base much earlier on.
Yeah.
And was also ahead on the bases for a very long time, and the workers too, and that really pays off.
It really does. Again, Shadows
taking one of TriGGeR's faces.
Oh my god, taking a Nexus in the face of TriGGeR, the disrespect. TriGGeR, mate, I think the writing is now on the wall. He had an amazing engagement. You know, he reset the disruptor count. It was beautiful, but even that wasn't enough. Not
at all, mate. Maybe a slight chance if he kept going, but again, MaxPax wasn't giving him that chance. GG is called. Just like that. We have a game, not a series over 20 minutes. This series does not disappoint.
GG, well played. MaxPax takes a lead in this series, but it is only a lead. As a reminder, this is a best of 5, so we still have at least one more game to go.
At the very least, hopefully 2 more. We're quite a bit ahead of schedule getting to this PvT, so yeah, may as well make the most of it, I suppose. Oh,
yeah,
I forgot about Game Hard.
It's our last series, so, you know, we got to make it a good one. We got to make it a good one, you know. No hyper cheese, hyper aggression. We still see some cheeky plays here and there from our players, but nothing like
That's what we like to see. Yeah.
It is, but nothing like the previous PvPs that we had.
Yeah. Here it's cheeky, and then cheekier, and then cheekiest. Previous series it was cheeky, and then the cheaps get slapped.
The chat just caught up. They just saw the disruptor shot. The purification name.
Boom.
Oh god.
I'm not even a Protoss player, and oh man.
That's what I mean. Like, I'll be real here. Even though TriGGeR got overwhelmed, like throughout that entire game, like his disruptor micro was on point. It was better than MaxPax's.
If only he remade his robo facility earlier, man. How many more disruptor shots, purification Novas would he have had? And you know. Anyway, we're going to be continuing our series now on 2000 Atmospheres LE. We're in the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. We have our red Protoss player coming down from the land of Denmark. He is currently on match point. He needs one more map win here in order to advance to the round of 8, if I'm not mistaken. But finally, in this bracket. He's getting a little bit of a challenge. He's representing Storm Gaming PSG. He is MaxPax.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2,000 Atmospheres LE, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the player who refuses to die for as long as he can. Representing Root Gaming, it is TriGGeR.
He actually sends a scouting probe this time.
He does.
I'm a little bit surprised, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I kind of like this. So now I feel like the onus is on TriGGeR. What TriGGeR just did, he confirms what MaxPax always does. MaxPax is one of those players where he throws down a low ground wall, even when it's not safe to do so, even when you don't have that ramp. Otherwise, we'd see an opener like this from TriGGeR. So MaxPax is being that much more greedy. So now maybe TriGGeR looks at this and he's going to be the one to maybe try and punish this.
Yeah, I got a couple of stalkers out early on, just try to chip away at that wall.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, he's able to delay the natural expansion for as long as possible as well.
Yeah, if you remember something that Zest did every single time he saw this for a while, I remember it being even on Oxide. You scout this and you just throw down a pylon and a Stargate, and you just pump out Void Rays and you just let's go.
You throw down a shield battery if you really feel it. Beautiful follow-up block here, but MaxPax will throw his natural base down quite a bit quicker than TriGGeR though.
Oh yeah, again, MaxPax with the much more greedier opening. It was delayed a little bit, so TriGGeR was able to do that. But wow, MaxPax even throws down a pylon across the map. But TriGGeR doesn't seem like he cares. He cares a little bit more about, again, being aggressive.
Absolutely. Gotta punish that greed whenever you see it.
As two Stalkers are on the way. Only going to be a single Stalker to defend here for MaxPax, as he only has a single gateway to work with. But he has a shield battery. He's going to potentially have overcharge once the Nexus finishes. Once it finishes, though, because it's not done yet.
It'll take quite some time. Oh, okay. Really worried about that wall for a sec, but MaxPax is able to react just in the nick of time.
Some nice fancy micro here from both of our players. I also love that MaxPax, he threw down a hallucination straight away before Sentry died, in case it did die, so he could go for a scout.
Which is super important to see. Sees that TriGGeR is in fact expanding, just not at that natural base. So, yeah, knows that he's not as committed to this aggression as he otherwise could be.
Yeah, he even scouts the Stargate follow-up as well, so he's going to be getting prepared for that Oracle, and that is why, there we go, MaxPax, he actually starts his Phoenix.
Like so.
Yeah, and this is something that TriGGeR isn't ready for. Like, he hasn't gotten in, he hasn't scouted whether it's a Twilight Council or Stargate.
Definitely going to be taking a pretty big chance with this Oracle. Is he rallying it to the base? It looks like he's rallying it to the army right now. No, it's to the base. Okay.
Yeah, the Oracle is headed towards that main base. Meanwhile, the Adepts did commit to the Shade. They will not get that Zealot at the same time. Two Adepts actually get across the map, and wow, MaxPax gets damage done.
Yeah, despite having the pressure... despite having the pressure set on him, certainly he's able to recognize when he has enough to defend at home and when he can really afford to send units out. TriGGeR trying to reciprocate that damage, but again, we knew that MaxPax was going for Phoenixes. He knew that TriGGeR was going for an Oracle. And TriGGeR very easily dealt with.
And TriGGeR did not know. He had no idea. He didn't go for his own Sentry. He wasn't able to scout that until his Oracle got into the main base. So the Phoenixes were able to catch it and go across the map and deal some counter damage.
Even more damage, if you will, yeah.
Oh my god, there's no shield battery in the main!
Very well head. There is not. This one Shade is really causing a mass panic in these probes. 6 more will go down in total, and Adept will finally be dealt with, but damage has already been done.
7 probes went down. Yeah, to those feet, and the pieces they just dive back in.
Now, when we said the damage has been done, we also mean that the damage will continue to be dealt.
Yeah, like TriGGeR's being abused because he took a really awkward natural. He took the unnatural natural. It's something that some Protoss players do because they don't want to be slowed down because of the pylon that like denies you. Because TriGGeR wanted to be aggressive across the map, but that aggression didn't really come to fruition. He wasn't able to snowball or anything like that, and he was just punished so hard for the space.
Yeah, once again, this reminded me very much of that previous series, MaxPax versus Jomek in particular, I think. MaxPax just understands the ins and outs of Protoss so well. He knows exactly what he can get away with in a PvP, and we're seeing him dominate once again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Able to get his read.
Yeah, the Stalkers of TriGGeR, though, again, he comes in and he's trading fairly well, but we have an overcharge behind this. We have 2 shield batteries, a cannon as well. Oh.
Yeah, but MaxPax is slowly moving outside of shield battery range. He recognizes this, and he retreats back behind the safety of his wall.
Yo, Cybercore is going to get taken out. This Stalker count is pretty impressive from TriGGeR, and there are going to be no more Stalkers in production from MaxPax.
That was a mighty fine concave right on top of that. We're seeing the army count starting to get even, but TriGGeR still with the much better army of Stalkers right now. Phoenix is starting to help out a ton, though.
Oh, I love the moves here from MaxPax. Sure, he has the lower Stalker count, but he was able to mitigate that a little bit there with the CC. Meanwhile, TriGGeR, he dives on top of the cannon, is able to take it out. But, god, DTs are going to come in, and there is no detection.
Actually, didn't even realize a Dark Shrine was going down.
God.
Meanwhile, across the map, one DT is clearing out just about every single mineral line. 2 DT, sorry, but that's just what makes it even more devastating. TriGGeR was already pretty all in,
mate,
but now he has no other choice than to send all of his Stalkers in, and he doesn't even have the Absorber in position to deal with these offensive DTs.
I mean, again, he just didn't have any detection, so he loses everything across the map and at home. GG gets called, and MaxPax takes the series.
And MaxPax will continue to demonstrate why he is the top dog when it comes to the foreign Protoss players. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's actually top 3 or top 2 overall in the world Protoss right now. And we've just seen why. TriGGeR put up one hell of a fight. This didn't go to a full 5-game series, but it went the absolute distance. This was the closest match we've had this tonight. In the end, we could only have one winner.
Yeah, I mean, at least TriGGeR was able to make MaxPax bleed a little bit. And again, that game on Blackburn was still, you know, a little bit contentious. It still could have gone TriGGeR's way for a couple more things if he had gotten that faster robo, maybe. If he had gotten more disruptors, maybe. A lot of question marks there. But as we saw here, like MaxPax, even leading up to TriGGeR being all in, like the like aggression, the way that he was able to hinder the economy. Also, MaxPax was scouting everything, confirming, of course, like the Stargate and everything.
Power.
Yeah, and recognizing how late the robo was going to be, and sneaking out that Dark Shrine. Really, just I mean, that was just the ace in the hole. We saw that there was just no answer to DTs, and DTs were everywhere, all over the map.
I think that's one thing that's pretty noticeable from MaxPax is those games that he was looking a little bit shaky or even ended up dropping, like not Pillars of Gold. Why do I keep saying this? Pride of Altaris versus Art, or you know, to an extent, Blackburn versus TriGGeR here, or what was game number 1 again? Curious Minds, I believe. Curious Minds against TriGGeR. These were all games where MaxPax wasn't really able to get his hallucinations in, where he wasn't able to scout what his opponents were doing. Every other game, once he gets the read on, he knows exactly how to react.
Yeah, like this is what is scary about MaxPax. Like bearing in mind what the openers were, like it was a very greedy opener from MaxPax, and he got away with it. Like TriGGeR scouted it, he was trying to punish it, and he couldn't. Like this is why MaxPax does this, because he's confident that he can open up with, you know, less production, but he can be efficient with his units, and he can get away with faster Nexus and faster Pro production and stuff like that. And just in a mirror matchup, you just straight up just get ahead from that. It's insane.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And he's really good at maintaining that. Like he's one of the best at it. One of the best.
Without a doubt. And hopefully we can see that translated into, you know, a big tournament result here in 2021. I fully believe he has it in him. Just hasn't, you know, been able to really show it yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that a lot of people in the chat were saying about how, like, you know, he's got some really good matchups, but at the end of the day, especially in Europe, it's all about your PvZ, you know, at the very high tier, you know. Can you take on players like your Serral, Raynor, even Lambo, right? Like, they're...
Definitely. I'd even throw in the Laser in a good season.
Yeah.
The Laser, when he's in form, he is absolutely in form, but...
There are some scary Zergs in Europe.
Yeah.
And MaxPax, he's got to work on that matchup. Especially because like the PvZ matchup has been slowly evolving all the time. We saw a lot of Skytoss last year, but in the recent months it's been kind of diverging a little bit away from that Skytoss.
I'm so excited, honestly. I'm so glad we're starting the new year with a new meta.
A little bit.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a different take of the previous meta, not quite a completely new one yet, but seek something that's not Skytoss every game.
Yeah. I guess what I will say, especially when I look at the bracket, !B in the chat, by the way, people, to have a look at the full brackets. I'll be honest, there's not that many Zerg players to worry about. So MaxPax is gonna be looking pretty good here. I'm not too sure when the next broadcast date is going to be, but you can see, like, he's got Bjorn ahead of him, and then a Protoss.
Yeah, two matchups that he absolutely dominates in. PvT and PvP in particular.
Yeah, Bjorn versus MaxPax is going to be insane. I'm really looking forward to it. Especially because Bjorn, I think his worst matchup is TvP.
I'd agree with you. Yeah.
I can't remember if we casted this or maybe I solo casted. The DreamHack Last Chance qualifiers, the NA ones.
Yeah, that was probably you solo casting.
Yeah, I casted Bjorn versus Nina, and Nina beat Bjorn, and everyone was shocked. Everyone was like, "Oh my god!" To be fair,
I woke up and saw that result, and I was like, "What the hell happened here?"
Yeah, to be fair, Nina did go full NA on Bjorn, and she opened up with like a Robo first into Colossus drop, which isn't standard.
Hell yes.
But yeah, like MaxPax,
I love the sound of that.
He's got a good chance against Bjorn. He's got a good chance. That's going to be exciting. I'm not too sure who's going to be casting. For those wondering, day one here for OSC Championship 9 is, I believe, our only day of covering it. From here on forward, it is going to be on Wardy's channel. Not just Wardy, but also Chicken Man and Steadfast. Yeah.
We're getting the all-star team together. We're passing the torch, so to speak, or it's like a relay race, you know?
Yes, exactly. You know, Wardy started off, he handed it to us, and then we hand it to the next caster, and they're going to keep on going. So there's going to be plenty more matches going on. Not today, we're done with day one, but there's going to be many more days ahead of us, so keep an eye on that TL calendar for when the next OSC Championship broadcast will be.
Yeah, just because it is the off-season, well, arguably the off-season, DreamHack Last Chance still going on, doesn't mean there isn't very high quality StarCraft still being played. Highly competitive, that's the word I was thinking of.
Exactly. Yeah, the other big name here, of course, is we see Zest in that lower half of the upper bracket.
You know, in ESLNA, Zest and MaxPax have a little bit of a history.
Yeah. A little bit, mate. A little bit. So
that'll be one hell of a finals.
Yeah. Like there are a lot of top tier players here. Of course, we have our Polish Protosses. We casted 2 of them today. We got plenty more where that came from. They're all over the place. So yeah, some really exciting matches going on. Again, Zerg representation isn't the biggest thing here. Obviously, like Cham and Miyamika are great players, especially in their own regions, but they've got a mountain to climb to take out players like Bjorn, Zest, and MaxPax.
I mean, that's just about the story of Zerg and online events in general. I think probably the only, like, top Zerg player who is pretty consistent in these online events is probably Solar.
Yep. Yeah, Solar.
Yeah, I'd say Solar.
I mean, Solar, he's a previous OSC champion. Like,
There we go.
I'm checking the history here. Solar was the OSC champion for 2015 and for 2018. So goes to show that he has been very active in the past. Unfortunately, not as active this year, but I mean, it makes sense. You know, a lot happened with him. He got married. You know,
That's just a new year.
It's a new year, yeah. Oh god. And speaking of new year, yeah, I guess we're wrapping up with the broadcast here. Yeah, Yaku, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself, mate?
What? Okay, so I was born on a foggy night evening. The constellation was something that put me on the spot here. Can't tell the entire life story, but yes, I do cast most of the time here on the CranKy Ducklings channel. So if you do want to see more of me, particularly me with light, or sometimes me with steel, or sometimes me with I don't actually cast with darking that much.
You've never
I'm
cast
thinking
with
of
darking.
I've actually never cast with darking.
We're gonna change that.
I cast with Yoda Slim before I cast with darking.
We're gonna change that tomorrow. We're changing that.
Yeah. Whoa! Full Española. But yeah, do cast here quite a lot. I do have a personal Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Yakuzaku. I haven't really been very active on it, and I will not be active on it either for at least the next couple of weeks. I've started my semester.
Yeah.
But in case I do, that's where I'll stream, and I will be announce when I stream over at twitter.com/EmperorYakuzaku. If I don't, !Discord in the chat. There's a bot that says when any of us go live in our personal channels.
Yeah. On our Discord server, it does post whenever we go live, as Yaku was saying. If you're wondering, also he's a Terran player, so he's got that Terran bias, Terran bias going on sometimes. Always complaining about certain matchups.
Mate, TVT unwinnable, man.
Unwinnable, mate. Unwinnable. So you can check him out if you want. Meanwhile, you can find me at light_VIP. Likewise, I also have been a little bit inactive on my own Twitch channel. I've been a little bit lazy about streaming, but a lot of that is because of the holidays, right? Like Christmas, New Year's. We've been taking some time. Yeah, we've been taking some time off to ourselves to recuperate, recover, and dive back into casting. This was our second broadcast of the year, and we're starting to ramp up. Specifically, tomorrow. Tomorrow in 25 hours, we're going to be live here on this channel with the Duckling Showdown, featuring players like Eric, Ryu, Oreo, Starduck, and Neo. Almost all of the CranKy Ducklings are going to be playing in a playoff bracket, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to find out who is the crankiest of all the Ducklings.
Place your wagers. Well, we don't actually have wagers now, but get them ready, get them prepared. We do have the bracket already set up on Wikipedia. If you do want to take a look at that, get a little bit of an idea of what's to come. We're not just gonna have the games going on. Another objective we kind of have here with this particular Duckling Showdown is we do want to showcase our players a little bit more. So we're gonna be having interviews come down. Well, that's about it.
Exactly.
I do stay tuned for that if it sounds appealing.
Yeah. I just posted the bracket link in the chat, so if you want to look at what players we're talking about, there they are. Could be playing for a prize pool of 180 USD. Subject to change, potentially could be boosted. There is going to be a Matcherino page for our tournaments, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to try and bring everyone together for the Duckling Showdown. And before we head off, I also, again, want to give a quick shout out if you tuned in afterwards. Massive shout out to Wardy, because Wardy started off the broadcast and it's his birthday in 3 hours. My God.
I can't believe we ended well, we technically didn't end the broadcast, but I believe our final game, our final series ended before we hit the 3-hour mark.
Yeah, it was
PvP.
PvP, man. It went by quick. But yeah, Wardy, mate, you know, he's gonna be a year older, a year wiser. So give him plenty of love. I'm sure he's gonna have, like, I don't know, like a subathon or like a birthday stream. You know, maybe a hot tub's gonna be involved. Ooh. I'm not making any promises. I don't know what he has in store for his birthday, but I'm sure he has something. So give him plenty of love. I'm actually just trying to quickly check how old is he? How old is Wardy?
You never ask a gentleman their age, you know.
I'm gonna say it looks like 27 or 28. 27 or 28. Okay. Oh, yo, we're born in the same year. Let's go.
Yo.
I didn't even realize. I thought it was a bit older. Maybe it's the facial hair.
Whoa. You saved it.
There you go. But yeah, again, massive shout out to Wardy. Give him plenty of love on social media and give him support on his Twitch channel. Massive shout out for the raid, and yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow for Duckling Showdown.
Yeah. In the meantime, I'm just gonna chill in Eddie's backyard some more.
Yes, we are. Okay, we're gonna dive in. We're actually gonna go to bed. For those wondering, it is now 8 a.m. here. I'm gonna pass out, enjoy the sweet embrace of my bed, and wake up tomorrow for some more StarCraft.
I wish I was smart like you. Because in preparation, I thought this was gonna be a longer broadcast. I drank I had a little bit more caffeine.
I told you to drink water. I told you before we went live.
I did drink water.
Yeah.
I just also had coffee with the water.
God.
I'll drink more water now if you want me to. It's like,
oh my God. Thanks for watching, everyone. We really appreciate the support. Follow us on social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord for when we go live, and we will see you tomorrow.
bye.
Ciao.
Good night, Bella.